What's the most brutally honest thing a child has ever said to you? When I was 7, the Spice Girls were the center of my universe. I had the cassette tapes, the lollipops, the shoes, the tiny collectible dolls, everything. I used to sit on the floor of my room with a hairbrush microphone and pretend I was Baby Spice, belting out "Say You'll Be There," with the commitment of someone training for Wembley. It was the late 90s, and being a fan wasn't just about the music. It was an identity. I didn't want to be like the Spice Girls. I wanted to be one. One morning, I was sitting at the kitchen table before school, half-dressed and eating a Pop-Tart, while the radio played in the background. It was one of those obnoxious American morning shows, two guys with sound effects and fake laughs, doing a segment on the Spice Girls. I don't remember the exact lead-up, but they started joking about what an American version of the Spice Girls would look like. One of them threw out something like, "And now presenting Fat, Ugly Spice." The other guy burst out laughing. I did too. Not because I got the joke, but because the DJ sounded like he was having the time of his life. That's when I turned to my mom, who was standing by the sink in her robe, hair still wet from the shower. And I said it. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, "Mom, you could be a Spice Girl." I was thrilled. I meant it as the biggest compliment a 7-year-old could give. In my mind, this was a huge moment. My favorite people were the Spice Girls. My favorite person was my mom. And now, someone had created a new Spice Girl that no one had claimed yet. It felt like fate. She didn't say anything right away, just kind of paused with her hand on a coffee mug. Then she turned slowly and gave me this look, one I didn't understand back then, but I do now. It was part confusion, part heartbreak, like I'd pointed out a crack in the mirror she'd been trying to ignore for years. The silence stretched long enough for me to start talking again, still clueless. I remember saying something about how she could sing too, and maybe we could make her a costume. She finally forced a smile and said something like, "That's sweet, honey," and left the room. I found out much later that she called her sister that morning. As soon as I left for school, she dialed her and just started sobbing. She told her what I said, repeated it over and over like she was stuck on a loop. She said I could be Fat, Ugly Spice. My aunt tried to laugh it off, said I probably didn't even know what I was saying. But that wasn't the point. It wasn't about me knowing, it was about her knowing. About all the years of feeling invisible, or worse, visible only in ways she hated. My mom struggled with her weight most of her life. She never really talked about it, but I knew. I'd see the way she looked at herself in photos. How she always volunteered to take the picture but rarely be in it. How she'd compliment other women's clothes and then mutter something like, "Not in my size," under her breath. I didn't get it then. I just saw my mom. Strong, funny, warm, the one who sang along with me to pop songs in the car and let me paint her nails during sleepovers. But to her, my comment wasn't just something a kid said. It was confirmation. Like all the things she quietly hated about herself had finally been announced out loud, by her own daughter, and with joy. She never brought it up to me. It just faded into the background, like so many little things do in families. But something changed in the way she smiled at my compliments after that. Not in a big way, just a pause, like she had to decide whether or not to believe me. Years later, when I was in college, my aunt told me the full story. We were talking about how kids say the worst things without meaning to, and she brought it up laughing. I went completely still. I had no memory of saying it, none. But the moment she described it, the kitchen, the radio, the mug, came back like a movie scene I didn't know I was in. I didn't know what to say. I sat there 20 years old and suddenly furious with myself. My aunt kept saying it was nothing, that I didn't mean it, and I didn't. But meaning isn't the only thing that matters when something lands just right, or just wrong. I haven't talked about it with my mom. I don't think she'd want to reopen it. Maybe she's long let it go. Maybe it still lingers in the background. Just like that name lingers in my memory now. I told her I loved her last week, just said it for no reason. She smiled and said it back, and this time I noticed there was no pause.